Yes, guys, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV. I am Adam. This is the preview for Manchester United's next game, which is a trip to Carrow Road and Norwich City. Manchester United take on Norwich City in what is should be, on paper, a routine game. We go up against the Norwich side that have obviously a lot of injuries. They're a newly promoted side. They haven't won many games this season. They've only won 2 games. But one of those games they did win was at home against Manchester City. And we've seen that Norwich City like to attack. So they could potentially cause Manchester United a few problems. But with Manchester United's run this week, that decent draw against Liverpool, the win against Partizan despite a below par performance, going into this game, the confidence to get a result should be there. Will the performance come though? Because the performance will have to be a lot better than it was against Partizan Belgrade in terms of taking chances and most definitely creating chances. We'll probably go there with a little bit more of a stronger side than we played against Partizan though. So hopefully that will play into our favour. But we need a big result. We need 3 points. We need our first away win in the Premier League of the season as well. Because obviously despite the fact we broke that duck on the road and getting that away win against Partizan Belgrade, it's still a while since we won in the Premier League. What was the last away game that we won? Was it Crystal Palace or something like that? I'm not 100% sure, but it was a long time ago. So we still need to get that away win. But now we've got that, the monkey off our back, and we've got that record out the way in terms of no away wins. Hopefully now that's gone, we can relax a little bit, because I do think that maybe played on our minds a little bit in that second half, because we sat back and we tried to soak up pressure, and there was no point us doing that. We're clearly better when we're trying to hit teams on the counter attack, trying to get goals, and with Partizan coming out to us, there were times where we could have played better, and got the goal and saw the game out. And I just felt maybe there was a hesitancy in that, we had that record in the back of our minds, but nevertheless, we need a result. There's no excuses against Norwich. We need 3 points, especially when you look at where we're sitting in the league. I know there's been a few games today, so let me check the updated Premier League table. And I know, we're not gonna, the table's not gonna stay as it is now. 9, 10 games into the campaign, but nevertheless, we don't want to be sitting 15th in the league table. 9th, 9 games played, 10 points, sitting 15th. Everton are below us, 10 games, 10 points. Newcastle are below us, 9 games, 8 points. Southampton, Norwich and Watford. The facts are, Norwich could go level on points with us tomorrow if they beat us. And after 10 games, 25, over a quarter of the way into the season, problems if you're down that side of the table. It is problems. And if Newcastle get a result in their game, we could be drawn closer to that relegation zone. And regardless of how early it is into the season, Manchester United should not be down there. And when you look at the gap that's been pulled away from the likes of, I'd say, Liverpool, City, Leicester, Chelsea, maybe you could bring Arsenal into that as well. But I'd say those teams there are beginning to pull away from the rest. Obviously, Chelsea get another good result today against Burnley, and they'll have double the amount of points of us. And that's a team that we beat earlier in the season. So that it's a problem. It is a problem, and I don't like looking at league tables at this time in the season, but we need to improve on that. We need to get 3 points. And in fact, 3 points would take us back up there, just up to 6th, 7th in the table. So, it does swing things around very quickly if we can get a couple of wins on the bounce, starting with Norwich City here. I'll give you my predicted 11 a little bit later on into the show, but I'm going to be reading some of your comments as well. I can see Glenn's in the comments, Nigel's in the comments, back after so long. I know it's been a while since you've been in the comments, mate. China Brown's in the comments, Dale Ming's in the comments saying Brandon needs to start this game. Tian also says Brandon has showed so much heart and potential. I hope Ollie starts the kid. And you've said, rightly so, he's shown a lot of heart. But not only that, he's shown quality as well. Quality in terms of getting forward. Quality in terms of trying to beat a man in the final third. We saw that with the penalty that Manchester United got. It all came from him doing the hard yards, him trying to beat a man, him pushing on into the final third, getting beyond teams. And that makes it so much better for the likes of Martial, Marcus Rashford, whoever's playing in the team in that final third area. It makes it so much easier for them when they've got players coming from defence or from midfield, committing men and taking on players, because it occupies other defenders and then they can find their space. Anthony Martial had a very quiet game against Partizan Belgrade. Now, one, you could say the players didn't really create much for our striker. Two, you can say he had a bad game. Let's be real. He didn't have the best of games. That's to be expected when he's just come back from injury. He did get the goal though, and in his 4 starts this season, I think he's got 3 goals and an assist. That's great to see, and we need more of that. We need more of that from Anthony Martial. Consistency in front of goal, and at the moment he's scoring goals. Can that continue at Norwich? I'd hope that he can start after coming off after 60 minutes. You'd think we give him 10 minutes against Liverpool, 60 minutes midweek. Start him again, maybe give him 60, 70, 75 minutes in this game and gradually build him up as he comes back into the team. But hopefully he can get in on a goal. Hamza says he was meant to do the preview with us against Partizan Belgrade. I know I missed that. I was stuck on the motorway at the time. I did get in a little bit later on, and we obviously, I did the tactical preview for Full Time Devils, but I missed that, unfortunately. But good debut, mate, and hopefully get to see you on there very soon. Ahmed says he doesn't care about other teams. Martial or Rashford as our number 9, says Nigel. I think it's obvious that Anthony Martial, not only by number on the back of his shirt, but also by the way he plays as well, he's more natural of a number 9. He's not, a natural number 9. He's more natural than Marcus Rashford as a number 9. I think what he has in him is he wants to get beyond defenders. He's showing signs in terms of his running being a lot better. His finishing, he's very clinical, he's very cool, very calm in front of goal. He has all that going for him. His running and his movement has to be a lot better. If he nails that, then yes, I think Martial is our number 9 though. He's our main man, and he's probably the one you're looking at, hopefully being our top goal scorer this season. If we can get Martial being our top goal scorer and Rashford not far from him, like I said, the target for them has to be 50 goals between them this season. It has to be around 50 goals between them this season. If they get 45 to 50 goals, like 22 to 25 each, that's where we want to see them being, and then hopefully progressing on from there and getting even more goals. But Anthony Martial, Rashford, that has to be the task for them. If they can chip in with that amount of goals, then United will have a healthy amount of goals coming from those two, and hopefully we can contribute elsewhere as well as the season progresses. But they've already got, what is it, 7 between them. I think Rashford's got 4, Martial's got 3, 7 between them already. So they could do that, but it has been probably a slower start than they would have hoped for, the slower start they would have liked. Obviously Martial has been injured as well, but I think that has to be the target for them, getting 20 to 25 goals between them, getting around that 50 mark for the team, and hopefully we can build on from that. Esbui says this is a must-win for Manchester United. Joey says he thought Martial was rusty last game. Do you think he'll be better with a 2 up front with Marcus Rashford, says Joey Curran. Now, that is a possibility in this game. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, after the Partizan Belgrade game, he said he was liking the way he was seeing things in terms of Danny James and Rashford being up front, or putting that 2 up top, 3 at the back, 2 wing backs, 2 in midfield, getting 1 just off the 2 up top. That's what he was aiming to do. And maybe Martial and Rashford could be someone. When they play together very well, and they like playing together. You can tell each other they have an understanding. So when it comes to them two playing together, I have no problems with them, whether it's in a front 3 or a front 2. I think they can cause anybody problems, but it would be good to see him in that 2 up top through the middle, if we are going to persist with this 3 at the back and 2 wide wing backs. We need to score more goals. It is as simple as that, says Anshesh. Bang on. I'm talking about Martial scoring more goals, Rashford scoring more goals, but the whole team needs to score more goals. We quite clearly aren't scoring as much goals as we should be, and if you want to compete at that top end of the table, goals matter. It's all right at the moment, we're keeping goals out, but even then, like, if you can have a good defence, but if you concede 1, you're fucked if you're not scoring 2 or more in a game. And we've just not done that enough. There's only so many times you can grind out a 1-0 win. And we need to get goals. Simple. We need to get goals. How do we do that? What has been the problem for United has been creating chances. It hasn't. Do you remember that period? Was it Zlatan's first season when Pogba was just creating chance after chance after chance after chance, and he just wasn't taking them, and other players weren't taking them as well. It's not like that. We're not actually creating the chances, so you can say, oh, it's a matter of time before we start scoring goals. As long as you're creating the chances, that is the problem. We're not creating the chances. So even when you think Martial had a bad game against Partizan, you think back and you think, did we actually create anything for him? The answer is no. And the creativity and the lack of service to frontmen is hindering them massively. Without Paul Pogba, we have no creativity. And I can understand why Paul Scholes was talking about someone like Mesut Ozil. Now, I'm not sure about that one personally, but you can understand we need players of a creative nature. Jesse Lingard's not performing at the moment. Juan Mata, not performing at the moment. Andreas Pereira, we don't get enough assists from him. You're looking around elsewhere. Who else is going to create for us? Nobody. Now, what I like from James Garner when he played against Partizan Belgrade was he was occupying a deep role, but he was trying to press the ball through the lines. Now, we gave it away a few times, and I was a bit polite to him in terms of giving him a 7 out of 10 in terms of his player rating. But I thought he did do well, and yes, he gave the ball away a few times. Yes, he showed signs of not being spot on. But at the same time, he tried to do the right things. He tried to get the ball playing in the right areas, force the ball through the lines, and that's what you want to see as well. Sufyan Sheikh is saying we'll win 3-0 tomorrow, and Zach is saying no chance, Sufyan. So we've got some confidence and some people not so confident. Adam, what are your thoughts on us playing a 4-2-2-2 formation because we are struggling for wingers? We could play Fred and McTominay as anchormen with Pogba and James ahead, with Rashford and Martial. It does, mean you're looking at your wing backs as providing your width. But at the same time, I think at times in that first half against Partizan, it was almost a 3-3-1. Sorry, 3-3-3-1, because we had the three centre halves there, and then we had it was the two wing backs in who was it that day? Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Brandon Williams. We had James Garner sitting just in front of the defence, and then we had Scott McTominay and Juan Mata joining up with Jesse Lingard in just off Martial. So it was a 3-3-1 formation at times in the first half that day. 3-3-3-1 rather, shall I say. You're obviously saying a 4-2-2-2. I can't see it being played. I know Steve suggested something like that, but I just think it does. In the 3-5-2, you've got that little bit more protection with your one centre back, sitting there, and then you've got an extra midfielder just in front of them, so you've got a bit more protection. Your wing back, the three, your left centre back and your right centre back in the three, they can protect your wings. If you're playing two, then you got two centre halves. Just say you go forward, your wing backs, Wan-Bissaka or whoever, it does rely on one of them staying back. So if both of them go, then you've got two there. If one of your defenders gets pulled out wide, you've got one centre half. Now you're relying on your two, who would be McTominay and Fred, did you say, to actually come back and protect those centre halves. And McTominay maybe does that, but I don't think they're good enough in terms of doing that. Colin says, how close is Ethan Laird away from being in the first team squad? Now, Ethan Laird, obviously highly rated fullback from the academy, had a few injuries. Now, Ethan Laird was probably ahead of Brandon Williams in the pecking order in terms of who was going to come through next. Ethan Laird has an injury. Brandon Williams jumps up ahead of him, comes through, gets his chance. Now, that may hinder Ethan Laird a little bit in terms of now we've got Brandon who's doing well. We might focus on developing him in that position. But Luke Shaw's injured. Ashley Young, very old. Diogo Dalot can play right and left, but he's injured at the moment. So you're looking at that and you're thinking, actually, Ethan Laird could get an opportunity. We could try and rotate between the two. I'll give some competition to Luke Shaw. I think Luke Shaw needs competition. I think with Luke Shaw, I don't want to give up on him just yet. He had a half-decent season last year. I don't think it was player of the year material. but he had a half decent season last year, and I think he needs competition. I don't think we give up on him and let him go, but I think he needs to improve. And I think with the improvements we've made in our back four, Aaron Wan-Bissaka miles ahead, our best fullback at the club. Harry Maguire solid at the back. Twanzebe coming in alongside Lindelof as potential foils for Harry Maguire. I think you're then looking at Luke Shaw being possibly the weakest link in your back line, and you always have to be in a position where you want to improve that team. You want to add better players to positions. And we need to challenge him. We need to challenge him. Dembele says he wants Chilwell, but I also want to go see Brandon succeed. I don't care about Brendan Rodgers. Brandon Williams, not Brendan Rodgers. Okay, fair enough. I get you. Yeah, give Brandon a chance rather than making a sign in there. We're not going to get Chilwell. If we wanted him, we're not going to get him in January anyway. So you give Brandon a goal for this season and say, I was having a conversation with Steve the other day, and he was saying, just we haven't got a window yet. So just say to Brandon, look, here's your chance. Prove to me I don't need to spend money on another fullback. And if he can do that, then we save money and we can invest that elsewhere. Well, I say invest that elsewhere with the owners that we have. But you know what I mean. Calm down with the caps lock, lads, says Tian. Yeah, relax in the comments with the caps locks. Guys, people are going nuts in there. Remember, guys, keep your comments coming in, your super chats, all that good stuff. Keep it locked to AdamMcKola TV. We'll be going through my predicted lineup very, very soon. And I am predicting a return to the 4-2-3-1. I am thinking we're going to go back to this now. Although, Ollie, he is hinting that he might stick with the five at the back, 5-2-1-3 or 5-2-1-2 or whatever it is. I want to see us go back to the 4-2-3-1. I don't want us to get stuck. I don't want us to play 4-2-3-1 permanently, by the way. You all know my opinion on that. I think 4-3-3 has to be the way forward. And I like to see that Ollie has tactical flexibility. But to keep playing a 5-3-2, will it work against Norwich as well? Not too sure. I'd go with something like this. David De Gea in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, Brandon Williams at fullback, McTominay and Fred, Pereira, James, Marcus Rashford, Anthony Martial. You do have the ability, if you really wanted to, of allowing, Wan-Bissaka to tuck in alongside Lindelof and Maguire, Danny James or Pereira to come in as that wing-back position on the right, and then you could still play that two up top with Rashford and Martial if you wanted to, with that selection of players. But I'd go with that team personally. Aiden says, like the video. Yes, bang that like button, guys. Ryan, thank you for your comment. Spooey says, for me, even if everyone is fit, the 3-5-2 is our best formation. Where would you play Paul Pogba in that 3-5-2 formation? Where would you play Paul Pogba in that? Would you play him as the two central midfielders just in front of the defence? Or would you play him in the one just off the two strikers? Where would you play Paul Pogba in that? You want to see James on the left, says Anshesh. You want to see James on the left. That's two attacking, never happens with Ole at the wheel, says Yash. Pogba's still not fit. I believe before the Partizan game, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said that he wouldn't be fit for this game against Norwich. So I'm just going on that. But we've obviously got, fingers crossed he plays and he comes in, and I'm proven wrong, but I'm assuming he's not available for this game. Replace Fred and Pereira with Maddison and Pogba, then we won't be far away. And I think, you look at the defence that we have, Twanzebe coming in, Luke Shaw coming in a lot, providing competition with Brandon Williams and all that. De Gea in goal, Wan-Bissaka. Hopefully Lindelof can improve, Bailly can come back. If you can get one or two midfielders, get that right winger, you're looking at a much stronger Manchester United side. And we have got a platform to build on. Like I keep saying, I'm not sure whether Ollie's the man. Days like this against Norwich will prove whether he's going to keep his job or not in the long term. And hopefully we can go out there and get 3 points against Norwich City. It is going to be a difficult game. I seen Ollie was getting criticised for that. I haven't seen the video of him saying it, so I can't judge the context of the question that was asked or what he said before and after that quote of we're gonna have to be at our best to beat Norwich. But isn't that the case in any away Premier League game these days? We have to be at our best to beat them. We've seen when we're not at our best, we struggle against Premier League opposition away from home. West Ham United, we got absolutely battered, and we didn't play well. So if we're not at our best, we won't win. It's that simple. We need to be at our best, and I think it's a little bit stupid for him to get ridiculed for that. I do think he makes some weird comments though at times, and like after Alkmaar when he said he was really happy with the performance and stuff like, this was pretty bad. We didn't have a shot on target. Are you really, really happy with that? So I think he's kind of in a catch-22 situation where he's got to try and keep his players confident, try and keep these young lads, going, but also be realistic as well. Patrick says nothing but 3 points tomorrow, down to 15th now. Good Hope says he likes this side a lot more. Hassan wants to know what I think of Erling Haaland. What a striker he is. I'm not going to pretend he's been on my radar for much longer than the last 6 to 12 months, to be honest. I'm not going to pretend any otherwise, but he looks like the complete package, doesn't he? And he's so cool, so calm, so composed. Even when he scores, it's like, this is my job, this is what I do. He's super relaxed. And in terms of his stature, his physical ability, he looks like he's already got that. He looks like he's made for the Premier League. In terms of his touch, his back to goal, in terms of, when the ball is out wide and how he occupies defenders and tries to get that extra yard of space to get the goal. You're looking at him and he is pretty much the complete package as a centre forward. And as such a young lad as well, whoever gets him is going to get a very, very talented player. You're looking at him and you're thinking, go on, Ali, use your use your links with him to get him in. But at the same time, he's going to have a lot of clubs wanting his services. A lot of clubs. The midfielders are really important. Pogba is our only expansive midfielder. We need more flexibility then in our squad. Will be more exciting, says China Brown. We need so much more creativity than what we have at the minute. And you're looking at Paul Pogba and you're thinking, if we got a Bruno Fernandes or a Maddison or both of them or whatever, you need someone, because I feel Pogba will flourish a lot more as well when you've got someone in midfield that the other team are more worried about marking and closing down and getting in their faces. You're looking at having a fully fit front line and everyone playing well. And then Paul Pogba's can actually do something. But when you've got no strikers, no Martial, Rashford's half fit, your other strikers are 17-year-old, Danny James just coming, and then you got no one in midfield. If you monk Paul Pogba, you lock us out of the game. Look at City, look at Liverpool. If their main man Kevin De Bruyne or whoever's not creating, they will find a way through someone else. Bernardo Silva will pop up, or someone else will pop up with that creation. We just don't have the strength and depth. No police sirens today, says Tian. I don't know about you, but I definitely heard a few police sirens today. Maybe the mic didn't pick them up, but I've definitely heard a few ongoings in the local area today. Adam, from this point onwards, what would Ollie have to do to convince you he is the right man and turn it around? Mr. Nash says. You have to see an improvement in our football, an improvement in the players, an improvement in our fortunes and results, the right players being brought in the January or summer to justify whether he is the man to get the long term. And you have to have all of those things, but ultimately you need the results. Right on cue, there's a siren sphere. You need the results. You need the results to be able to get that time. I'm not seeing enough from him in terms of getting the best out of what we have at the moment. And ultimately you can't. Nine games, 10 points isn't good enough. It isn't good enough. We need a lot more results. You can understand if we're conceding goals or we're dropping points, and we are playing well, and you can see some improvement, and you can see us going somewhere. But Dale says, do you think he can turn it? Of course he can turn it around. In football, things change very quickly. And there's no reason why we can't go on another run like we did last season. There's no reason why we can't do well in the Europa League this season. When in fact, when you look at it, he's done pretty well. 7 points from the first 9. 2 of them were our most difficult away games in the group, Alkmaar and Partizan. So you're looking at it and you're thinking he's done all right in the Europa League. I think things can change very quickly in football. And like I said the other day, I'm never too I'm very hesitant to ever become one of these guys that becomes attached to a label. Ollie in, Ollie out, Jose in, Jose out. I never want to be attached to that label, because if you're Ollie in and Ollie does something wrong, you're blinded from it. So you won't give them criticism on that, because you're looking for everything to fit your agenda of Ollie in. If you're Ollie out and he does something good, you're never going to acknowledge that or pay his dues to that, because you're looking for everything to be negative to. So I like to try and be as balanced as possible, my friends. That doesn't get views. It doesn't get the top views, unfortunately. But this is what we do here. Um, just got to be real, got to be balanced with everybody. And there'll be times when I get emotional, get angry, get pissed off. But we got to be balanced. We got to try as well. Sufyan says, if I was Maddison, I wouldn't sign for United. And I think at this moment in time, you'd say that, wouldn't you? But also, I think when you look at Leicester are doing great. They might win a cup or two this season. But are they ever... The thing with United is, eventually we'll be back to a point, you'd hope, you'd like to think, where we're challenging for them big trophies. And players will want to be part of that. Someone like Maddison, I think, is dreamt of playing for United. So he might be a little bit easier than some other players. I do agree with you, though. Some players will be turned off by United now because of the predicament we were in. They'll want Champions League football immediately or whatever. That's fine. I totally agree with you. But there's some players where you can still bring them in, because they'll be thinking, we can be part of the rebuild here. We can be part of making Manchester United the best team again. So it goes both ways, doesn't it? It goes both ways. But we have to see improvement as the season progresses. Marius, thank you for your comment. China, thank you for your comment. Gareth Southgate, no, thank you. Peter, thank you for joining us. Dale, thank you for joining us. Ollie needs to play Pogba as a number 10. We would have more chances than we do now, says Ashwin. Unfortunately, though, he's just not fit, so we haven't been able to play him. Would you get Brendan Rodgers to manage United if he was available? I'm not... He's kind of ridiculed a little bit, because he almost become a parody of himself, and he's deemed very arrogant. And obviously he's had that connection with Liverpool. I was thinking, like, I was looking at it, and I was thinking, have Arsenal or United missed a trick with Brendan Rodgers? Have they? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. He could come and stink the place out. I'm not saying we should get him in, but you look at what he's doing. Granted, they had a lot of those players already. You've got to look at the investment at Leicester City, and the spending, the money they have spent has been very shrewd. When you look at some of the players that they have, the Yuri Tillmans, the Ndidis, Maddisons, they've got Jamie Vardy up top, who's top Premier League striker. Damari Gray. We've got talent all over the pitch. At the back, they're very strong. They replace Harry Maguire well. Chilwell at the left, Pereira on the right, Johnny Evans in there, Kasper Schmeichel. They've got a very strong team. And I don't think he's built that side. But what he has done is coach that side. And I think the style of football is very good. It's ruthless. They're playing good patterns. They play with good energy. They play in a good style. They play attacking football. So he's doing well, and I think if you took away that connection to Liverpool, I think a lot of people would say, bring him in and all that. But yeah, remains to be seen what he achieves there. He went to Celtic, and it's kind of poison chalice, really, because you take that job thinking Celtic's a great club, historic club, but when you win trophies there, it's like people just say, well, you're supposed to win it. So you kind of don't ever get the credit for it, you know what I mean? He'd get more credit for getting Leicester into the top 4 than he would for getting Celtic a title, which is incredible, really. But it shows you where the leagues are at the moment. The SPL has fallen off a lot, obviously, since the old firm, since Rangers got relegated and all that madness went on, and then that loses a little bit of money for the league, and you're looking around and you're thinking, where's the money coming from in that league? So they're not able to build the other teams up. But you look at Aberdeen are doing well at the minute. Well, I don't know if they're doing well right now, but they've been challenging more recently. They've had more teams in and around Celtic, but it's too easy for them. What happened to the director of football, says Yash. Come on, mate. You should know by now. All they do is brief, 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 brief without ever actually doing anything. Excuse me, a little bit of win there. Um, Leicester's got a better squad than ours. I agree. Anshesh. What was Stian about yesterday, by the way? Absolute mental, that boy. I need to have a word with him. He tweeted that Leicester have a better squad than ours, but not a better manager. He doesn't help himself sometimes, does he, Steve? He doesn't help himself sometimes. I hate to say it, but Rodgers is a better coach than Ole at the moment from what we've seen. Um, I wish they go for Maddison in the summer. I hope we go for Maddison too. I really do. Guys, this stream is nearly finishing up soon. So get your predictions in. It's that time of the show again. Remember, that's my predicted 11 or my preferred 11. I'm not really sure which one it is. But that's my preferred 11 for this game. David De Gea in goal. Wan-Bissaka at right back. Brandon Williams should keep his spot in the team at left back. Victor Lindelof, Harry Maguire. Fred, McTominay, Pereira, James, Rashford and Anthony Martial. I'm going to go for a hard-fought 2-1 Manchester United win with us scoring more than one goal for the first time since August. And, of course, getting our first win on the road in the Premier League for the first time since February or March. I'm going for 2-1 to Manchester United. Let us know what your score predictions are, and I'll read some of those out before we head off from this channel. Elia has gone 2-0 United. Anshesh has gone 2-1 United with Scott and Maguire scoring. I think you know who he means when he says Scott. Aiden's gone 5-2 to United, which is a very, very... if it's 5-2, I'll eat a hat somehow. Can that even be done? Yash is going 0-2. Mohamed's asking if Pogba's back. I don't believe he is back. 2-3 United, 2 for Pookie. For FPL reasons, says Tian. 3-0, we will win, then draw the next 3 games, says Sufyan. Ashwin says 3-0. Jutaru says 1-1. 2-0 to United and a clean sheet, says Jeremy. Which would be nice, wouldn't it? We've got 2 tricky games after this as well. Chelsea away in the League Cup, then Bournemouth away in the Premier League. So we've got 2 more games on the road after this one. If we can continue and get another win. Imagine after not winning on the road since Paris Saint-Germain, we could go on a run of 4 or 3 wins. And, you know, you can draw Chelsea and then win on penalties or something. But if we can get those wins on the road, get 4 back-to-back. Imagine that. Imagine that. Well, to make that possible, we have to win the second one first and get a victory at Norwich. I am predicting 2-1 though. Mohamed's predicting 3-2. Daniel's predicting 0-1. Joey's predicting 2-0 to Norwich, unfortunately. But just so we can end it on a positive scoreline, I am saying United are going to win 2-1 with Anthony Martial and Marcus Rashford scoring goals. Guys, thank you for tuning in to AdamMcKola TV. I have been Adam. I'm going to get out of here now, but let me just remind you, tomorrow we will have live reaction from Carroll Road and AdamMcKola TV. Fan cams and my reaction on Full Time Devils. Loads more stuff coming your way as well. We'll get the aftermath live for you on Monday. I'll get Dean back on this sofa with me to have a chat about all things Manchester United, and we'll have plenty more content coming up for you this week. So keep it locked to AdamMcKola TV. But for now, I've been AdamMcKola, and I'm out of here.